Hey fellow explorers, there's a common travel myth out there that once you have kids, your days of traveling are over, but you know what, it doesn't have to be so, and here at Yellow Productions, we are living proof that this is the case. Travel can be fun and rewarding, even with kids coming along with you, and I've certainly heard from many of my fellow explorers about things that happened, horror stories on their trip with kids, why they've sworn it off forever. And so in this video, I've got some updated pro tips to help you avoid those pitfalls. As the daddy of a 4-year-old traveling daughter, I'm also going to share with you some of my gear tips, like strollers and car seats and all that stuff, because I get those questions a lot. And I know many of you are traveling parents out there too, and so I'm definitely looking forward to hearing your tips as well. And so first, before I just get into like the specific tips, we're gonna go over air travel and car travel and hotels and planning, just like overall how you want to do it if you have kids. But first, I want to start with some travel with kids theory. And my beginning of this travel with kids theory is that the first thing when you're traveling with a youngin is you now have a new person with you. Either before it was just you, or you were traveling as a couple, or whatever group that was, or now you got another kid, now you're traveling with two. There's another person in the group that you need to adapt your travel style, activities, and food preferences to, because you know what, they matter as well. And so there needs to be really something each day that the kiddos on the trip can look forward to. Infants will go anywhere. They don't really need anything to look forward to, because as long as you can carry them around and they're comfortable in the moment, they're happy to go. So if you're traveling with infants, before they're really talking or even just a few words, the most important thing is keeping them comfortable in the moment and making sure you work your activities around their nap schedule. But at some point, infants become toddlers, and when infants become toddlers, you know what they have? They have opinions, they have likes, they have dislikes, they have notions of fun, they have notions of boring, they have notions of what they want to do and what they don't want to do. But you can get them to join you on some activities that they consider boring, as long as they have something fun to look forward to. And so the first bit of fun to make it is getting to your destination. Planes, trains, cars, automobiles, you got to make that fun too, because you want them to want to begin the journey. And so that's what I would say, make the fun, make the getting to fun as well. Before it starts. Whenever we're driving around, we always point out airports and we always point out airplanes and all those things and the fun things that could happen there to tie it all together. So this all starts before the trip. The way the trip becomes fun is preparing for the trip, getting them to look forward to things on the trip so that they want to get out of the house and in the airport and to wonderful places like Los Angeles International Airport. Funny joke for you before I get into this. Had some friends tell us that their son, 4-year-old son, got sick actually coming back from their trip, and when they got to LAX airport, their son just threw up right there in the concourse. And of course, which I said, I'm like, that's how I feel at LAX every time I go there. I just feel like throwing up when I get there. Yeah, and the staff, they told them they cleaned it up, no problem. They're like, this happens all the time. I'm like, oh, great. So easy to pick on LAX. All right. So when we're planning for a trip, like when we're planning for this trip to Banff National Park in Canada, we will show her pictures of things on the trip that she can look forward to on different days. We'll show her pictures of the hotel, pictures of the pool, pictures of this to be like, we're going to see this. We are planning a trip to London, and so she loves Peppa Pig, and so we've shown her, we're going to go see the double-decker buses, we're going to go see the Queen, and we're going to see all of those things, and then she's all jazzed up about wanting to do it. And by the way, I'm going to tell this as a story about what has worked for us, and then you can probably extract some of those things as to what would work for you. And I know there's some people that might be watching this video to be like, I've heard this comment, to be like, Chris, I don't have kids, I don't really relate to this topic, but I'm just interested to see how people do it. All right. So after we've kind of set on a destination and we've told her about it, then some time passes, and now it is time to pack. And she helps pack. At the age of 4, she can help pack. At the age of 1, 2, or 3, maybe not that much, maybe 3 a little bit, but at the age of 4, they can start to help pack. And so we don't have her packing her most precious clothes, like things that are critical. The parents pack the things that are critical, but the things that are the fun things to have, she packs. This is in our living room with her set of toys and her traveling backpack, one of many traveling backpacks. She gets to put whatever she wants in this bag to take with her. Snacks, toys, games, all that stuff that she will want on a plane to entertain herself, she can put in her bag. And so that is a fun evening, afternoon time to do that. But no, there's limited space, so she's got to pack it into there. She gets to pick out the backpack too, so that she likes to travel with that. Of course, there's also some other things that we'll consider that she likely underpacked, like she might pack a Ziploc bag with 2 marshmallows or something. They'll be like, you might need a few more snacks, and so we'll put those in our backpacks too, because a happy belly on a plane is important, since there's maybe not a lot of food that kids love on a plane, so packing things they like to eat on a plane is super important. Okay, what do we do for entertainment? In this bag, we will pack an iPad mini right here for entertainment. This is a iPad mini that is in a kid's OtterBox case. This case, super sturdy. It's got a back. It's also got some Gorilla Glass on the front. It's also got this little thing that'll stand it up, but you can also take this thing off like that, and then you can just kind of like hold it like here. But so this, we will download movies, TV shows to Disney Plus or YouTube Kids that she can then watch. This thing, we had a previous iPad that we would travel with that wasn't in this case. We would just use Dad's iPad Pro. That was a mistake because that fell down on tile and that cracked, and so now this is super sturdy. In order to listen to it, then we've got this little headphones here. You see in the picture right there. These are some what brand is this? On and off. These are kids' headphones. They're designed to not be very loud so that they can't hurt their hearing by the volume. Note, if you plug in an iPad, then you need like a USB-C special connector because they don't have any headphone cables anymore. So we make sure to bring that along too. We also bring her one of Dad's old phones, not this one, but an old Samsung Galaxy phone that I don't use anymore, that we have a backup in case the iPad mini runs out of juice, we need a second one, whatever, so we have an old Android device as well. Kathy on the live stream points out yellow headphones. Yellow headphones, that's right. She has the yellow, of course she has the yellow headphones. And Jesus says the iPad is gold for a 3-year-old when traveling. This is definitely a shift in traveling with kids that, like, in infant time or even early toddler time, they're not yet excited about cartoons. And so then it's much more important to bring games or things like, or toys that they can play with to keep them entertained. But at the point that they start enjoying cartoons, then that can be the way to just enjoy the whole flight with that. Maybe what's she watching there? Maybe Bluey or something like that on her tablet. Now, slightly different if we're going on a road trip, particularly if we're going on a road trip in our own car. What we don't want her to do is we don't want her to like have to hold this thing all the time or end up with like a neck crick like this. Well, maybe she'll hold it like this when she's taking pictures. She's learned how to take pictures on these things, so she enjoys that too. On our trip this past weekend to Oceanside, California, where we stayed at the Mission Pacific Hotel. It's been named the best resort in continental U.S. by Travel and Leisure. We stayed there this weekend. Hotel review coming out soon, but she was enjoying taking pictures of all the things. Does she really know how to look at all the pictures, things like that? No, not yet, but she enjoys the art of taking the pictures, and she can take them with the tablet and this. But anyway, so when she's watching movies, we don't want her to end up cricking her neck or hands like this. So what do? In our car, we have this little... back in the day, they used to put screens in the seat back. So this is like the modern version of that, which is basically a phone holder or a tablet holder that's attached to the headrest. I don't have links in this description of this video yet, but if you're watching the archive in a day or two, I'll put links to all this stuff in, so if you want to get the exact one that we have, you'll be able to find it in there. But this one, it extends out, and so now that way, the tablet or the phone is just kind of floating out in front of her. She doesn't have to hold it. She's not also looking down to make her neck, this thing costs like $15 from Amazon, and I think it is well worth the price. Points Traveler says, I download the Yellow Productions videos to keep me entertained. We have Yellow Productions videos and Curious Princess videos of us going around the indoor playgrounds downloaded to keep her entertained too. Kat says, is she around? Can she come to the stream? Too early for that. Too early. You never know what a 4-year-old's going to do. So we will just have the Curious Princess in picture form for this stream. Sarah says, traveling with kids is the absolute best. I agree, Sarah. Alex says, I haven't been to LAX since they changed the Uber and Lyft to off-site versus roadway, so my opinion could change next time, but I've never had issues. Alex, you just haven't been to LAX enough. That's the answer on that one. Okay. Now, for car seats. People always ask about car seats. Chris, what do you use for car seats? We have a couple of different car seat recommendations. I have recommendations from like small age to big age. What we have her in right now, we have 2 different car seats. We have one for my car. We have one for mom's car. We also have another car seat that we use just for traveling. And then we have one that she's going to be into in a little bit. So this car seat here, this is the one that's in Papa's car. This is the Nuna Rava car seat. This one, at the age of 4.5, this was like a big car seat. Kids can be in it for a long time. We started with the Uppa Baby Mesa car seat, and I think we'll see that in just a little bit, but that is a great infant and toddler car seat that also connects into the stroller that I'm going to show you in just a moment. Why do we have 2 different car seats, 2 different cars, and this one right here that's in OC Girl's car, this one is the Klek Foonf. Yes, that's really C-L-E-K is the name of the company. Foonf, F-O-O-N-F is the brand of this. This one is a little narrower than the Nuna Rava, and so when we need to put 3 people in the car, in the back seat, then this one works out well. People still have some shoulder space. The other one, the Nuna Rava, is too wide for 3 people, including the car seat, to be back there. This one is not as plush or soft as the Nuna Rava. So, stroller of choice. This is the stroller of choice that we like to bring with us. If we're on a road trip, we're going in our car, or we're not going very far, or we're not going on airplanes. This is the Uppa Baby Cruise. This is like, I don't know if I want to say it's the BMW of strollers, but there's the Uppa Baby Cruise and the Uppa Baby Vista, which definitely seem to be like the it strollers to have here in Southern California. The difference between the Cruise and the Vista can have multiple seats. So if you've got 2 kids, then you might want the Vista because you can put both of them in it. If you've got one, the Cruise will work just fine. You can see in the bottom of this one, here, let me make this big so you can see it. In the bottom of this one, this is when she was about 2 years old. It actually has the Uppa Baby Mesa car seat in the bottom shelf. So that's the car seat that comes out of the car. You can also take out the seat that's on top and just replace it with the car seat. So it's a very versatile stroller. It doesn't fold up very well, which is why we generally don't take this one on planes. J&J comments that if you're going to Disneyland, strollers are allowed, wagons are not allowed. Thank you for that tip. We definitely take strollers to every theme park that we go to. Any place that we're going to be like going long ways that she's going to get tired. Even if she can walk fine at the age of 4.5, but we generally take the stroller because she does get tired. It's also a great place for kids to nap. So if we're out someplace, we can't get back to a hotel, we can't get back to the car, she can take her midday nap in the stroller. And even if she's not in the stroller, then it's just a good way to cart all of our stuff around, to cart the baby stuff around. Great way to go to the water park and just have a place to like store your stuff in the stroller. No Nonsense wants to know, is this live stream really happening right now? It is happening right now. Welcome to it. And Janelle says, the princess is adorable. Aw, thank you so much, Janelle. TNG says, just get a Cruise. The Vista is too large and heavy. Speaking as a Vista owner, thank you for that perspective. We've not owned the Vista. We've just seen them around. All right, but good to know that they are super heavy. Yeah, the Cruise, fairly light for what it is. It's like all aluminum construction, so we would highly recommend that one. I have a few more pictures of it because it really goes from like birth to I don't know how old yet because she hasn't aged out of it. But when we first started pushing it around, we had the bassinet attachment on it. And so instead of the seat, there was a thing that she could like lie down in. So we got that bassinet, which was the same bassinet that she would sleep in. So she could we could go from the house where she was taking a nap to in the stroller to go for a walk or things like that without having to wake her up in the bassinet. This is the UPPAbaby Mesa car seat. So we really like this car seat. It has a base that the whole car seat attaches into, and so then you can take that car seat out and then snap it into the stroller. Really great. So when she was in the phase that she was able to sit in this car seat, we would also take this car seat on the plane. And we would put on the seat on the plane. And so she would fly in this car seat. This is an FAA-approved car seat. There's a certain set of car seats that kids can fly in. They have to be FAA-approved. They've got a little icon in it. But the great part about them flying in their car seat is they're used to that seat. They can nap in that seat. And so we would always schedule flights when she was like a time she needed to nap, put her car seat on the plane, have her sleep in her car seat. Now those other car seats that I showed you, now that she's 4, we don't travel with those because they're so heavy and they're so big. They're too hard to travel with. So we either rent the car seat from the car, like the rental car company, or we have now that she's like 4.5, we have just kind of like a booster seat because she's sort of a booster seat age that she can sit into that we just take for travel. Okay, and so this is an example of the nap, right? So having a good nap right there in the UPPAbaby. She loves to nap in this thing. Super sturdy. All right. Our stroller of choice for plane travel, and why a different stroller for plane travel? Because it needs to be smaller. It needs to fold up, is the UPPAbaby Metro Plus. UPPAbaby Metro Plus. This is the UPPAbaby Metro Plus in the Vancouver, Canada airport. She's taking a nap before our flight right there. This one folds up small enough that you can actually put it in the overhead bin. And so we will do that when we travel with this one. It is not as big. It is not as sturdy. It doesn't have as much room down there. It doesn't have as great of a leg rest. But it's great for travel because it is small. And so when I say small, this is what it looks like on the hood of my car. And you can see the soda Pepsi bottle there for size. This video is not sponsored by Pepsi, but it could be Pepsi. Let me know. Another thing we have done, we have also rented strollers. When we were in Taipei, Taiwan, we actually rented this stroller right here. It's pretty reasonable. Like the place we rented it from, it was like $10 a day or something like that. They delivered it to us. This is her holding her phone that we have in a purple case for her. All right. So you can look at that if you're going to a place that too hard to bring the stroller. Do they have cheap rentals? I was in a hotel recently when I was in Guam, actually the Westin in Guam, and I did a video review of it. They offer free strollers to anybody staying at the hotel. So maybe you don't even need to take the stroller, get a stroller from the hotel if that's one of the things they offer. We also got this thing, the Duna Trike. This thing I feel like has been like the Hollywood stroller. There's a lot of Facebook ads on this thing. It is advertised as a stroller replacement. Like, hey, they don't need to be in a stroller because you can just push them around in this trike. It's going to be so much more fun for them. This thing is fun, and you can see, like, as a parent, you can have a wheel that can control them steering, and they can have a tricycle and a feeling of they're going where they're going, except you're picking where they turn, except it's just not that comfortable. Like, it's fun for about 10 minutes, but this is definitely not a stroller replacement. It just ends up being a $300 tricycle. Tianji Wong says, Chris, the collector of strollers and car seats. We have a lot of them. We have a lot. Okay, just like Chris is also a collector of luggage, so. All right, and this is what it would look like. People often ask us if we check them in, if we gate check them, what do we do? So all of our baby gear, we typically gate check it, meaning that we don't check it where you check your luggage, but we check it like right before we get on the plane. And so how does that work? It depends on the airline, but when we are at baggage check-in, like at the front ticketing counters, we will tell them we have some items to gate check. Some airlines give you special tags right there or code it on your itinerary. Other airlines will say, cool, whatever, just take it to the gate where you're going to board and tell them there. But just to be sure, because you never know which way your airline's going to go, it's always worthwhile to tell them at the ticketing counter that you're going to gate check your stroller and your car seat. Different airlines have different allowances as to how many things they'll let you carry, but often a stroller and a car seat is a particular, like 2 per kids that they'll let you take. And for the car seat, we got a bag to put it in that says like car seat gate check, just so that the thing didn't get dirty. Why do we do that? One, because we don't want the stroller going through all of the airport like stuff to like really wreck it. Because your suitcases come back and they're wrecked half the time. And so when you gate check it, it doesn't go through all of the airport handling stuff. The crew literally just takes it from the jet bridge down to the underbelly of the plane, and they put it there, and then when you get to your destination, they bring it back up to the top. The con of doing that is when you get to your destination, you've got to wait. Like, you got to wait for them to bring it back up again. And then you've got it with you when you go to the airport, so you got to, like, lug this stuff around. We have found it actually really useful to have our daughter in the stroller in airports, because many times, if she's in a stroller, they will give us, like, faster lines, like, through passport control. They'll be like, oh, you got a stroller over here. Stroller, go this way. So that is something to think. So we actually, like, be like, oh, we should take our stroller with us to make sure we can just obviously go into some of those lines. TNG says Asian airlines usually take better care of the gate check baggage. No doubt. Lowell says, what's the best city for a child? You mean to visit? We've been to a lot of different places. We've actually really enjoyed our time in Japan, believe it or not. Hawaii was great. I think probably definitely like any place. Actually, so this past weekend we were in Oceanside, California, and the Curious Princess said like this hotel is great because it has a beach and a swimming pool. So we would go in the beach one part of the day and a swimming pool the next part of the day. So I feel like most kids enjoy water activities regardless of how big or small they are. So if you can get a beach and a pool and a ball pit, that's even better. All right. So, the last bit of baby gear that I want to mention that we've really enjoyed, and I had it at the first picture on this, is the Osprey. What's this called? The Osprey Poco Plus. What is this? This is a baby backpack carrier. You'll see a lot of front baby carriers, and we've had those too. The Ergo Baby front carrier, the people who make the stroller, they make a very famous front carrier for kids. But if you carry kids on your front, like you're going hiking or whatever, it's really heavy. You're really heavy on the front all the time. And so the great part about something like this, it's basically like a hiking backpack, like a big hiking backpack with lots of rigging and support, that then when you put them in there, and they're on your back, so that's where the straps are, so then she'll be right behind my head, it's actually not that heavy. Yes, OC girl who's 5 feet tall and definitely smaller than me would have a bit of a harder time doing this, but as a 6 foot, 200-pound guy, I have no problem carrying her up until, the age of about 4. Like, finally, she's aged out of this thing, but from the age of about 1 to 4, we went on tons of hikes. We hiked up Diamond Head with this thing on my back. We would go through Tokyo with this thing on my back. The great part about the baby backpack as the carrier instead of a stroller is if you're going to a place that has a lot of staircases or a lot of dirt or a lot of things where strollers can't wheel, then a baby backpack is a great option. Okay. So now that's kind of all the road trip tips. That's all of the getting up to the plane. That's all the gear tips. Now I want to talk about the subject of flying. So you've got the kids on the flight. How do you make it a great experience to actually be on the plane? Because I feel like this is where a lot of people finally throw in the towel, because they're like, the actual experience on the plane was the most awful thing in the world. And so first, we will generally prefer direct flights over connections. We will pay more to have a direct flight, because when you connect, it takes longer. You've got more boardings. You've got more deplanings. You've got more chances for things to go wrong, too. You've got more cities that you might end up having to sleep in an airport because you miss your connection. We don't want any of that. We want travel to be as stress-free and as magical as possible, not a bunch of boring time waiting around for your missed connection. So We also tend to try to pick normal waking hour times. As much as you might hear on some of my other videos that I will profess taking the first flight out in the morning because it's going to be the most on time, we don't want to make it a journey where we're waking her up at 3 in the morning so that we can get to the airport at 6 because she's just going to be in a bad mood. And so we will pick something at 10 a.m. So that she can wake up at a natural time and we can get to the airport in a good mood, because good moods are important. You know what they say about diapers, it's she who wears the diapers in the family that makes the decisions, or a happy baby is a happy family. All right, she's not a baby anymore, but those are some sayings that people use around toddler travel. By the way, Captain Guillermo Claus in the live stream said, hi Chris, huge fan. Hi Guillermo. Okay, now, for long flights, if we have a long flight, what's a long flight? I'm going to call a long flight 8, 10 hours. That's a long flight. 12 hours or more. If we have a long flight, then we like to pick them so her natural sleep time will occur during the flight. You can see here, she is sleeping in her Mesa car seat that I showed you earlier. And the more your kiddos can sleep on the flight, the easier it is for all of you. So in that case, if we're going to Asia, something like that, then the 10 p.m. departure from LA to Japan or to Taiwan or wherever, actually a really good departure time, because we get her to the airport, we get her on the plane, maybe we have dinner, and then out for the next 8 hours. So that works out pretty well. We have also done other things, like brought inflatable foot pillows on the plane so that she could lounge out, this and that. We've tried some of these harnesses on the plane so she doesn't have to be in her car seat. None of those things really loved all that much. So the car seat was what we found to be the best solution. Lap children. On the subject of lap children, people often say, Chris, when she was younger than 2, would you have her on your lap? Because most airlines will allow you to bring a lap child, meaning that they don't get a seat. You just put them on your lap, and then they're free. We never did that. We never did that because that just sounds awful. And everybody that I've ever talked to that's done a lap child for more than an hour flight is my arms were so tired after that. I really regret it. I wish I would have got them a seat. Most airlines offer child seats for less. Not all airlines, but most airlines offer child seats for less, and even less depending upon age. So take a look at the airline that you're looking at. You might decide what airline to pick because they offer cheaper seats for kids than another one. So we've always been on team buy a seat for your kids. All right. Yes, and Kathy says a long flight to us was 14 hours for us to Melbourne to LAX. Yes, long flight. 14 hours is definitely a long flight. I was saying what my lower bound is for a long flight. If it's 5 hours, then, that's not really long enough to get into a deep sleep. So then a 5-hour, 6-hour flight we'll usually schedule during daytime hours. But a flight that the kids can get enough sleep is a flight that we will schedule for a long time. Alex on the live stream has been celebrating 14 months as an explorer, supporting the Yellow Productions channel. Thank you very much for your support, Alex. And Skosh says, hey Chris, you and the family have been well. I've been really enjoying your recent videos. Thank you so much, Skosh. All right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about boarding and seats. On most airlines, they generally will offer some kind of early family boarding. That is typically, if you have kids that are 2 or younger, they'll let you go on board first. Now that our daughter is 4, we don't really get that anymore. The airline that we do get that on still is Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines offers what they call family boarding for children 6 years old or younger. 2 parents can board with them after the A group, before the B group. There's a special time you can go on board to make sure you're seated together. We would generally take advantage of the early boarding because we'd like to gate check our stuff and get our things situated and make sure we get our stuff in the overhead bin. There are certainly people who will argue the other way to say, well, I don't want to take advantage of the early boarding because I don't want to spend 30 more minutes cooped up on the plane. But we would, just because we liked, getting situated. All right, I'm thirsty. What am I drinking today? Today I am drinking this Kirin English afternoon tea from Japan. This is one of my favorite bottled milk teas in Japan. It has like an Earl Grey kind of milk taste to it. A lovely sort of floral vibe to this milk tea. All right. And Alex sent a message that he retracted. But Alex, thank you for your support that came along with that message. Okay. So I've already told you that the stroller is great for airports. It's great for getting around airports. This is what like another setup of ours would look like. We are definitely, when I travel by myself, I am definitely of team like carry on your bags. But by the time you're traveling with little ones, the amount of stuff you need to bring, then I'm on team check your bags. So those are like a complement of stuff that we'll take with us. Right there. The black bag here, that is the Osprey Poco Plus that we got a bag to check the Osprey Poco Plus backpack in. All right. And Amy says she loves the Japan milk tea. Excellent, Amy. All right. So there was a comment in the chat about what airport has the best play area for kids. Ooh, and that's one where like, I mean, the answer is easy. The answer is easy because it's Singapore. Singapore Airport is amazing, and Singapore Airport definitely has the most fun things for kids to do. Singapore even has its own butterfly garden that kids can go in. But Han really led me into my next point, which is that when we are in the airport, we try to find every opportunity to let her blow off steam. And so whether that's finding a play area or whether it's maybe just like running up and down like an area where there aren't any seats or any people, so we're not bothering them, but making sure she can get the wiggles out before she gets on the plane, because once we're going to get on the plane, you're not going to move all that much. And the best way to go to sleep is if you've run around a bit and gotten the wiggles out. We have also learned to pack a change of clothes for her and us. So this is one of those like pro tips is you might think like, oh, kids throw up a lot. They just throw up a lot. You heard me tell the story about that friend of the princess's that yacked when he got to LAX. By the way, yak, that's my term for threw up. Kids throw up a lot. So you want to make sure they have clean clothes if they throw up on themselves. But if they're sitting on you or they're sitting next to you, guess who gets some throw up their way too? The parents. And you know what sucks? Go in the rest of a long 10-hour flight with a bunch of yak on your shirt. So we always carry change of clothes for her and a change of clothes for us. And when she needed them, extra diapers. More diapers than we think we could possibly need. 3 times the amount of diapers that we could possibly need, because if we misconnected, we were stuck in an airport, who knows what happens. Diapers hard to come by. You don't want to be out of diapers when they need to take a deuce. That's a number 2. All right. The Deuce. It's also a bus in Las Vegas. All right. Now, in addition to cartoon entertainment, we will also go to Daiso, which is like a Japanese dollar store, before we travel to get a bunch of like little toys, coloring books, sticker books. We find sticker books are a great way for her to like take off the sticker and put it here. Coloring books are good for a while, but like anything, any kid is bored with a new toy after 30 minutes or an hour, so then it's worthwhile to have a steady stream of toys. And if you go to the dollar store, each one's only $1, you can have 10 new toys in the span of 10 hours. And then when we're at the destination, we'll buy some new toys while we're there so that she can play with on her way back. Nothing that's like so valuable that if she loses it on the plane or steps on or break it, that she'll be crushed about it. They're just things to entertain the time between cartoons. Okay, so now I want to talk about, we've talked about the flight, you've got your kids there, they're having a good time. Let's talk about hotels. And so the first thing I want to mention related to hotels is it's not as straightforward as you might think about planning hotels. And the reason why I'll say that is that many hotels assume 1 to 2 people in the room, which, if we go back here, 1 to 2 people is fine if it's one parent traveling with the one child or 2 parents traveling together. As soon as you get 2 parents and the child, that isn't co-sleeping, in like one king-size bed or something like that. Like, there is a time when we could sleep in one king-size bed with the Curious Princess, but at some point, like, all your kids are going to get old enough that their one bed isn't going to work. And even many hotels that say, like, one king bed will say max people per room, 2. And then every hotel has a different, like, threshold about what they consider a kid that's free. But at 4, she has aged out of most of those things. And so, like, when we were planning a trip to England and we're looking at hotels in London, like, when we go to the hotel website, like Marriott.com, and select 2 adults and 1 child with an age, like, half the hotels are gone. Because half the hotels don't have rooms to support 3 people. In Europe, this, like, Paris, so 90% of the hotels are gone right away. In France, if you've got 3 people, which would include a kid, they expect you to either book a second room or they expect you to book a family room. So just know that when you're traveling with kids, it's going to cost more because you're now going to be into a different category of rooms than you were before. And you want to make sure that you don't end up at the hotel and then have them charge you more when you're there with a kid. So in Japan, we stayed at this hotel. This is the Curious Princess's favorite hotel she's ever stayed in. It is the Hoshino Resorts Rizonare in Atami, Japan. They had kid-sized yukatas. We booked the family room, so they got this big bed. They put the whole thing together like that, bigger than a king-size bed. Like, look how huge that bed is. And then they even put rails on the side of it so that, she could sleep on one side and not roll off the bed. Super kids-friendly. But we stayed at another hotel by the same chain, Hoshino Resorts, the next night. That wasn't Rizonare. Rizonare is their family-friendly one. We stayed in one of their other ones. And then because it was a room that I had booked that had 3 beds in it. 3 beds. There's 3 beds in the room. 3 single beds in the room. But they only made 2 of them. When we got to the room, only 2 were made. And the third one was, like, covered up with this, like, gray sock almost. So then I go to the front desk and I'm like, hey, can y'all make that third bed? Can I get, like, some sheets, this and that? And they're basically like, we can make it, but it'll be $50 a night to use the third bed. But I booked a room with 3 beds. Oh, well, when you booked the room, you only said there were going to be 2 adults in it. You didn't put 3 people, and so we didn't charge you the third person rate. If you want the third bed, we're going to charge you, 5,000 yen, which I guess now with the exchange rate, it's more like $25. But whatever, point of this being that there was an extra fee for the extra person in the room. So pay attention to that. And Han says, great point. Like, in Japan, always get 3 twins. In Japanese hotels, 3 beds is actually you can get 3 beds in many hotels. How many hotels can you get 3 beds in? But let me tell you, even though it's $25 or $30, it's well worth the price. So that we can all have a bed, and then nobody's kicking anybody. Nobody's kicking in there anybody. Everybody's got a great sleep. Or in this case, they just sort of pushed all 3 of them together right here. Kathy says we stayed at Minaru in Tokyo, great for families. Yes, I think that, like, Japan has a bad rap for kids. People are like, oh, it's not that kid-friendly. But let me tell you, I think Japan is actually one of the most kids-friendly places to go to. Danielle says, just curious, would some of these travel with kids also be good for travel with kids on Amtrak or any long-distance train anywhere in the world? Danielle, I think all these tips could apply absolutely to traveling by train as well. Lowell asked, what about kids' movies? We will download kids' movies on Disney+, Netflix. We have both of those on the iPad, so yes, we will download those too. And Amy seconds the Minaru. All right, I have not been there, but I'll need to add that to the list next time we go to Tokyo. Oh, this is again. So I think it's worthwhile when you look for hotels to look for hotels that are kids friendly, because again, about wanting to make your kids want to travel, the more amazing you can make it for them, the more excited they'll be and the better mood they'll be in and the more they'll want to do because they're just having a great time. This is in the lobby of the Hoshino Resorts Rizonare in Atami, Japan. This is a ball pit. This is a gigantic ball pit with an ocean view, with clouds. It's amazing. And of course, every time now we stay at a hotel, the Curious Princess goes, will it have a ball pit? I wish it would. I wish more hotels would have a ball pit. We spent, the couple nights we were there, 3 days, like every day, we definitely spent some time in this ball pit. Okay. So, once you are at the destination, you got your hotel, you got your flights, you've taken your train, you've driven your car, whatever. Now you're doing stuff. Let's talk about doing stuff. How do you do stuff the best way, that the kids enjoy it, that you enjoy it, that everybody enjoys it? And so the first thing we had to learn as travelers is that we needed to slow down and not do too many things each day. Before, this is definitely where I say travel at the beginning, I'm like, travel doesn't have to end, but it has to change. And so we can't do as many things in one day as we used to be able to do before. Where before we might be able to do 3 or 4 major things. Now we can only do 1 or 2 major things and a couple of minor things, just because we got to figure out naps and food, and and she wants to go in the toy store on the side. And so it's important to allow for those things, Papa, I want to go get an ice cream as we're in Oceanside. All right, I guess we're going to go get an ice cream. But that takes some time out of the schedule of maybe things we had planned. But we have found that everything will be better, particularly if she is well rested and fed. She's still a napper, even at the age of 4.5, and so we try to keep to her existing routine in terms of naps and meals, because there's nothing worse than hungry, tired toddlers. And we try to schedule any long drives of the day around lunchtime, which is her typical nap time right now is about noon or 1 p.m. That can go all the way to 3 or 4, but at some point she's just going to crash. And so I would prefer her to crash either when we have a stroller, when we just happen to be back in the hotel, because maybe we want to stop midday because we're all tired, or when we're in the car, because then we can maximize that time. It doesn't always happen. When we were in Taipei and we're at the Taipei Zoo, and she's up on my shoulders, she fell asleep on my shoulders. What am I going to do? I don't have a stroller. I don't have a car. We didn't have a rental car. We're not near the hotel. Just find a bench and sit for an hour while she takes her nap. But that's something to really figure out that nap time and nap schedule, and just make sure you work that into your travel schedule. Henry says, Chris, in your opinion, is Switzerland kid-friendly? Would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for the great content. Henry, thank you for your support. It's been a while since I've been to Switzerland, but I feel like Switzerland would absolutely be kid-friendly. Switzerland is... it's not Sweden. It's not Norway. I say that because Scandinavia is definitely also really kids friendly, because I feel like all these great kids products tend to come out of the Scandinavian countries. But I think Switzerland does have a big focus on, I'll call it quality of life and slowness of life. The thing that I would say maybe Switzerland might not be that kid friendly on is the food. Only because I feel like Swiss food is not... it's not what maybe most kids, or at least American kids, would be yummy. There's not a lot of hamburgers and mac and cheese or noodles or those sorts of things. So I think you just have to take that into moderation. But I think, if you look back at the Switzerland videos that we did, or the Swiss trip that we took, where we went from Zurich to Bern to the mountains to Lucerne, I would absolutely do that all again with the Curious Princess. Lots of trains, lots of cable cars, this and that. I think that'd be super fun for a kid. Yes, and Tianji says, a diaper emergency will take a lot of unplanned time. Things that take unplanned time, and why it's also really important to just be flexible when you travel with kids is, yes, diaper emergency. They got a full diaper. Or when they're potty trained, Pop, I gotta poop. I gotta poop. I gotta go potty. Can you hold it? No, they can never hold it. They can never hold it. And so then it's all right, drop everything that we're doing and go look for a bathroom. But, that might take 30 minutes out of the schedule to go look for a bathroom that you hadn't planned on. Adults can kind of plan that, but kids, not so much. Same thing if you've got an overblown diaper or a leaky diaper, or your kids have a yak and then you gotta go change them. So those all things add into the schedule. Here we go. Mr. Mario here says, my parents took me to over 20 countries before the age of 6. Awesome. I love it. I lived everywhere from 6 months in Kenya to a year in London. Quite the world traveler. I'm gonna assume you think you're better for it. You like it. You think your parents should have done that, or you're like, Chris, please go back and tell my parents not to have taken me to those places. I'm hoping that's not your point. I don't think it is. And TNG, I don't know if I put this one up already, but TNG says, the Curious Princess seems like a great sleeper. She is a great sleeper, but she does need a certain, even if it's a shoulder environment, to like go to sleep. She won't sleep if she's just walking. She won't lie down on a bench and sleep. She needs the stroller. She needs the car, or she needs Papa's shoulders, or that baby backpack. I think that's where she learned to sleep on my shoulders from. And Alex says, hey, I'm still in Happer, and I'm 36. All right, so that'll work right into your schedule. No problem. Danielle says, a European series with the Curious Princess, something to think about. We have a trip scheduled to go to Western England. So, yes, European videos, family travel through Western England is a video series coming up. Okay, so every day, while we're there, there's a time for her own adventure or activity. And by her own, I don't mean like she's going by herself, but there's something that she can look forward to, that we can tell her she can look forward to, whether it's going to amusement park, or whether it's going to a playground, or whether it's going to a beach, or going to a pool. There's always something she can look forward to. And, we also will try maybe to do that, like, right before her nap or something like that, so that maybe she gets tired if it's like a park or playground, and then that like just dovetails right into nap time. How do we find parks and playgrounds? When we travel, we use the satellite view on Google Maps. On Google Maps, if you pull up satellite view, then you can just kind of like look for green areas with parks and look for playgrounds. That's how I look for playgrounds. Now, people often ask me about big cities. They ask me about, Chris, what about Tokyo? What about New York City? My general thought is to avoid a lot of time in the big cities, particularly cities that you have to take the subway or the train, particularly cities that you need to take the subway or the train from the airport with a lot of luggage and a stroller and a kid. It is hard, so hard to like try to take public transportation with your kid and all your stuff, not knowing about what kind of mood they're going to be in. So when we go to big cities, we rent a car. Chris, did you rent a car when you went to Tokyo? We rented a car when we went to Tokyo. Kid you not. Now, Chris, car's a waste of money in Tokyo. Car is a waste of money in Tokyo. But we were in Tokyo for 2 days, and then we were spending 7 days across the rest of Japan. We flew into Tokyo Haneda Airport. We picked up a rental car. We spent 7 days in the countryside of Japan with our car, with all of our stuff, easy to get around to the different hotels. We spent 2 nights in Tokyo, which meant we drove our car to the hotel. We found a hotel that had parking. Actually pretty cheap. The Hyatt Place in Hyatt Centric in Ginza, 2,000 yen to park your car if you're a hotel guest, which is like $15 or less in Tokyo. I'm not kidding. It's really what it is. Super good deal. And then we parked our car for 2 days, and then we went to the airport. Our car was right there. We put our stuff in it, went to the airport, returned our car, went back. We're doing a similar thing when we're going to Western England. We're flying into London. We're going to spend some time in London. Then we're going to go to Bath, and then we're going to pick up a rental car from Bath to tour the rest of the country, but not riding a lot of subways or city public transit with all of our luggage. The OC girl and I totally could do as grown adults, but not when we also have a little one to look after and make sure our stuff and her stuff gets on and doesn't get lost or pickpocketed along the way. Han says, how was driving on the left side? I've driven in Japan quite a bit. I've driven in London, Australia, UK. I've driven in a lot of left side driving places. I think I've gotten used to it by now. But if you want to know what driving is really like in Japan, I have a whole video about it. Just search for Yellow Productions Japan driving. You will find it. Andrew says, New York was a massive eye-opener for my daughter last year. I think it's cool. And this is where I say, I'm not saying like avoid the big cities entirely. I'm just saying like maybe don't plan the entire trip in the big city. Spend time in the countryside too, where you can have a car and go around. But like I think it's cool for kids to be able to go to these places that they see on TV, that they've heard of, and be like, oh look, there's the Eiffel Tower. Oh look, there's Times Square. I've heard of those things. Or take pictures with the cosplay people in Times Square. Carmen says, I'm grateful to speak more than one language, but moving to various countries as a kid was hard on me. All right, thank you for that perspective, Carmen. I assume you were older then when you moved around, or were you younger? Janelle says she's excited for the Western Europe video. Kathy's from Australia. She says driving on the left is normal. And Kat asks, I've driven in Thailand. we got a driver when we went to Thailand, so we didn't brave that one. Okay. Taxis. One thing to know about taxis is that in many countries, many cities around the world, kids do not need a car seat in taxis. So if you're going to a destination and all you're doing is public transit and taxi, oftentimes you don't need a car seat. Doesn't apply in all places. In the city of Los Angeles, you still need a car seat for taxis. But this thing about, like, say, like in London, you don't need a car seat in a taxi for kids. You do need it if you're taking rideshare. You do need a car seat if you're taking Uber or Lyft. So do be mindful of that. In Florida, at Disney World used to offer a bus service from the airport to Disney World. And the great part about that was if you had kids, you could take the bus and you wouldn't need to bring your car seat. They don't have the bus service anymore, so now you got to take a rideshare or rent a car, which means that you need to figure out the whole car seat thing. There are some rideshares that have car seats, but not very many. If you do need a car from an airport, you need to make sure it has a car seat in it. There are like specialty companies that'll do that to make sure they'll have the car seats already in the car to pick you up. You can look for that. All right, now I want to talk about food. Food is something we've had hits and misses on the food thing. This is the buffet at the Hoshina Resorts Resonaria Hotel. Buffets always a win because there's always something that she'll want to eat at the buffet. This is, here, let's make this big. I've got a great setup down here of like sashimi and Wagyu beef and all this stuff. And the princess has a great setup of French fries and ice cream. Because kids always love French fries. You know, how much do we pay for the buffet for those French fries? But, you know, we got some like apple juice and some drinks. And so, but, you know, you might be at a hotel that doesn't have French fries, doesn't have kids' food. Or you might be at a restaurant that doesn't have kids' food. So what are you going to do about that? There's no shame in McDonald's. There's no shame in pre-fueling the kids at McDonald's. We've done that. When we've gone to have a sashimi bowl someplace, pre-fuel the princess at McDonald's, bring the tablet for the cartoons. She can watch a little bit while we can have our fish bowls because there'd be nothing there that she would like. She loves fish and chips, fried fish, but not raw fish. Kathy says, why are kids so fussy? I know, fussy. Indeed. That's why I say they have their likes and their dislikes and their opinions. TNG says, on the note of car seats, for the cities that don't need a car seat, I feel it's not safe either. That's a dilemma. Sure, it's an absolutely true story that it's probably safer to have them in a car seat. And Carmen responded to my, how long was she traveling around the world? She said it started at 7 and went through being a teen. And sure, I'm sure at that point, it's not just taking trips, but then you're changing schools and changing friends. And I can see how that could be hard. Okay. Other things that we've kind of like discovered with restaurants is, you know, when in doubt, if we don't pre-fuel at McDonald's, we will drop into like a convenience store and get some food at the convenience store that maybe we'll take for her to eat in the restaurant. Most restaurants are pretty cool with that, where they're like, your kid's not going to eat anything but here anyway. So if they have a little piece of bread or something to munch on while you order plenty of food, we're good with that. Most restaurants often have high chairs and kids' bowls and cups, though many restaurants might not offer them by default. You have to ask for them. We've often realize we have to bring lots more wet wipes, napkins, towels. We carry these silicone bibs everywhere we go, multiples of them to keep her clean. And also why lots of napkins are important is many street food stalls don't provide napkins, and maybe as an adult that's okay, but kids are going to need napkins whenever they eat. Somehow they'll figure out how to make a mess of it. On the note of strollers, even though we'll bring our own stroller, we look for free strollers in places. In Haneda Airport in Japan, they had free strollers. She just loved going around in this thing because it was a different thing. Kids shopping carts, you know, anything that's kind of like kiddie, that's unique, is another thing to have a good time. We've talked about naps. There are people who they'll like, I always go back to the hotel to have a nap, but this is where like I think it's worthwhile to train your kids to sleep in the car seat, to sleep in the stroller, so that you don't always have to go back to the hotel to take a nap. I think renting a car is the easiest way to get around. We have also, when we go to big places where there's lots of people, we have a little necklace that has an air tag on it. So the princess has an air tag on her, so we can use this air tag to find her. We haven't had to use it. We've also gotten her little bracelet that has her name on it, has our names on it, and our phone number on it. Like, it's one of those to be like, if lost, please call this number. Obviously, that's not going to stop the bad people, but the good people, then they know how to reunite the princess with her lost parents. Overall, if you're thinking about, you got kids and you're like, can I travel? Is it worth it? We think it absolutely is. It's rewarding. It's fun. We travel differently, but we have fun when we travel now too. But it is important to be adaptable and flexible so that you can enjoy.
Fellow explorers, it is now Q&A time. If you've got a question, I've got an answer.
All right, fellow explorers, it is Q&A time. So what questions do you have? By the way, if you've got a tip that I didn't mention, please drop that in the chat or the comments if you're watching the archive. If you've not hit the like button, please do that because it really helps me out, lets YouTube know you enjoyed this video so that YouTube can spread it to more people. Kathy says that place that I just showed the picture on right there looked familiar. It looked like the Sensoji Temple. Indeed, Kathy, that is the Sensoji Temple in Japan. And by the way, these pictures are her just like the. Then we bought a yukata for her to wear, and then we took pictures, and we would like stop. We would stop. People would stop. Like, look at the 4-year-old girl dressed in a yukata standing in the middle of Sensoji Temple. All right, Kathy says, when are you going to take the Curious Princess to Disneyland? Funny story about that. So if you look behind me up here, if you're a Disneyland regular, you might recognize some of these buttons. These buttons up here are like Disneyland happy birthday buttons. And it's been a tradition where I've always celebrated my birthday at Disneyland from the age of 21 up until COVID time. And so we are planning to take the Curious Princess to Disneyland around her 5th birthday. So right now we've got Legoland annual passes, so we're milking those at the moment. Janelle says, is there a USA trip that is in the future for you guys? Other trips in the USA to other places? I'm not dissing the USA. We just took a weekend trip to Oceanside. We don't currently have any US destinations planned. We're doing Western England, and then we're going to go more around the holiday time back to Taiwan. So that's the couple that we've got at the moment. But that doesn't mean that different ones can't materialize between now and then, but probably other US trips would be after then. TNG says, when does it feel like easier when traveling with a kid? We are at the infant stage. Napping, feeding, nighttime sleep are so difficult that discourages us from taking most of the trips. Yeah, I would say that like easier comes in, first of all, when they can eat solid food. So when you don't have to bring formula and baby food, when like they can just eat French fries, like so much better. And then definitely like stage 2 of that is like when they're out of diapers. Like when they're out of diapers, yes, you do have to look for bathrooms. But I feel like at that point, when they can eat their own food, they can eat whatever food, and they don't need diapers. You don't need to find a place to change them. They can like exist as normal humans in the world. So that's been the biggest shift for us. Like I'm definitely at a point, like, yes, I understand that you're like, I got to get back to the hotel, or I got to do this, or they got to get a nap, or they're going to be cranky. Now I'm just like, we can hang out wherever. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Larry said the recommendation on a wearable AirTag was great. Lowell says, when we order at McDonald's, what's her favorite thing she likes? At McDonald's, the princess gets the Happy Meal with the chicken nuggets, fries, and apple slices, and a milk to drink. There we go. TNG says, great, thanks, Chris. Gives me a lot of hope. Best wishes to you, 10G, and anybody else who's in the same place as you who wasn't brave enough to leave a comment. Amy says, the national parks are great for kids. The JR Ranger Club is fun to earn. Richie says, when will the princess be a big sister one day? One and done for us. One and done. Alex says, when are you coming to Portland? I don't know, but if we do, I will definitely let you know. My dad, Electric Rick, says the bibs we have are amazing at catching food. We just celebrated Electric Rick's birthday just the other day. So we had dinner with the Curious Princess sitting next to him at a Taiwanese restaurant. So he got to see these silicone bibs that we buy at Target in action. They're great at catching food. Yes. Bibs are key. With a little lip down here, you know, she drops something and like, oh, I can just pick it up and eat it right out of there.
Yes, it's the time you've been waiting for. It's time for the giveaway.
All right, fellow explorers, in every video, I always give away a Yellow Productions shirt, and today I'm giving away the new Yellow Productions shirt. This one right here, the shirt that says, "What am I drinking today?" with the Topher drinking the boba tea on it right there, to someone who answers my question. And my question to you is, the two strollers that we have, what are the manufacturers of those strollers? You got to put both of them in one comment, and then you will win that shirt. If you didn't get to win one, you can buy one. Where can you do that? You can do that at the Yellow Productions shop right there. $20 this month. Every month I'm going to be releasing a new design over the next few months, and each new design will be $20 for the first month, and then go up to the regular price of $25. And if you're like, Chris, when is the next live stream? That's not the right answer. The next live stream, you can sign up for the Yellow Productions mailing list over at the Yellow Productions update, and I'll send you an email as soon as I know the live stream and the topic and when it's going to be. All right, we have a winner.
And now we have a winner chicken dinner.
All right, the winner chicken dinner is... Do we have a winner? No, we don't have a winner. Okay, let's see. Correct answers, or answers that were maybe correct. Amy says Up a Baby. No, that's not correct. Tina says Nuna Rava and Osprey Plus. One of those is a car seat, and one's a baby backpack. Kathy didn't notice. Lisa says Ergo Baby and Nuna Rava. So we got Ergo Baby and Up a Baby. Those are the two, but they weren't together. Kat says Up a Baby. Panjo says Up a Baby Cruise and Up a Baby Mesa, which is the car seat. And Han says, Chris, your content is great. Well, so tell you what, at this point, first in with half of the answer goes the winner. Amy H., congratulations, you are going to be the winner today. Send me an email, chris@yellow-productions.com. Let me know your address and what size you want, and I will get that Topher drinking a boba tea heading right out to you. Well, fellow explorers, it is always great hanging out with y'all today, and I'll give a second winner to Carrie O, because you were the first person after I said it to put it in there, and you know what? Amy was the second. So Carrie O, you send me an email too, and I'll get one of those shirts headed out your way. All right, well, fellow explorers, as usual, I won't say goodbye because I'm going to see you in the next video.